Morning. Hope you're all okay. So yeah, sorry, StreamYard said 10:05. It's because I forgot to add the Facebook link. You can't add the Facebook link more than a week in advance. And then when you add the Facebook link, it has to be more than 10 minutes before you start. So I had to change the time. So let me just check where I'm supposed to be. Can you see me? Yes, you can. Hi, whoever's on already. Make sure StreamYard can see your name and come and say hi. Let me get rid of my face on there now. So today we're talking, I don't know who it is. Let StreamYard see you. Now I've broken everything. Jenna, hey, Gemma and Jenna, that's confusing. Hey, Jenna. Hi, Gemma. Lovely to see you both. Hi, Kay. All right, Kay's got such exciting news this week that she hasn't shared with you yet, and I wish she would. So this morning we are talking about setting your business goals. Who does it, first of all? There's a few of you on, so if you do set business goals, let me know about it, please. And this is something that I laugh about because I kind of dip in and out of. Sometimes I'm well on it. I know exactly what I'm doing. I have my eyes on how a box all going. Morning, Katie. You can't normally join me on a Monday. Hi. Sometimes I have it all laid out going on and know exactly what I'm doing. I'm tracking my social media stuff. I'm checking that it's actually growing. Sometimes I'm all over it. Sometimes I'm really not. But let me tell you, I can see the difference in my business when I'm actively working towards a goal that I've set and I know what I'm trying to achieve, basically, versus when I don't, when I'm just kind of procrastinating, doing the tasks that feel like are real tasks that aren't, which is something we do a lot, and I speak to lots of you about it. So, business goals. So why setting them is important? So loads of reasons, kind of obviously, but they give you a clear focus and they motivate you to doing some achievement kind of work rather than just the tick list work. Hey Marie, hope you're okay. I've got 10 minutes with you, Katie. Oh, you're going to miss all the good stuff, but you can watch it on replay later. They motivate you. They help you identify what's important to you. So this one, out of all of the reasons to set goals, is one of my most important ones. When I'm setting goals, I will look at what is the most important thing I could achieve right now to take my business forwards. And the irony is that's usually the last thing I'm bloody doing. Usually I am sharing stuff on social, or I am creating a newsletter instead of creating the course that I've been saying I'm going to create for ages, which has been in my important urgent box for ages, is create my email marketing course and my Canva course. And I've started my Canva one this morning. That will be done. I want to say today, but I'm going to say this week. I think I can do my Canva course today because I'm setting it as a business goal. So they give you direction, and when you've got a clearly set, well-defined set of goals, they make loads of your decisions really, really easy. And they make it clear that when you have that half an hour to sit down at your desk or your workstation or wherever it is that you're working, they show you exactly what to work on, and they take the decision away from you, which is one of the things we all struggle with in the first place, is making the decision to start. So there's loads of good reasons to set goals. They help you move forward. They help you know where you are in the first place and where you want to move to. So determining what they should be, whole different kettle of fish. And one of the things that I think we get stuck on quite a lot. So what I recommend on something like this, if you've never set business goals before, if this is a brand new kind of idea for you, is get a big piece of paper and kind of jot down all of the stuff that you want to achieve. Good morning, Sue. How gorgeous to see you here. Get a big piece of paper and write down all of the stuff that you kind of want to achieve. And that feels like a mammoth task. And actually, once you start going, it'll start flowing. But then we look at, right, what's the next right step? Now, I've talked about this loads. I think quite a few of you are coming on my strategy today. If you're not, there's still one place. And I've talked about this one place for ages. I can't believe we've got one place left. But on the 20th of June, next Monday. Oh, is it next Monday? It is. Oh my gosh. Next Monday, I'm spending a day with 12 women, literally helping them set out their strategy for the rest of this year, or certainly we're going to do a 90-day goal up to the middle of September and then an end of year goal. So really, really looking at what you want out of your business and how you're chasing that down. So first of all, if you want to come on that day, there's one place left to come. If you can't, start with writing down everything you kind of want your business to achieve. And it's a bit of a free-flowing situation where nothing has to fit in a category yet. Just start jotting stuff down. One of my things I wrote on my list this morning was Insta highlights. I still haven't sorted my Insta highlights button out. Get your huge, big list. Then start grouping it together. So start looking at, what am I trying to say? There's a word I want that I've totally lost now. Batching. So look at which tasks batch really, really well together. So if I want to, for example, create my Insta highlights and do my Insta stories, they go together really well. If I'm talking about creating social media for the different platforms, I will look at how I can tie that in with potentially email newsletters. Look at what kind of fits together nicely. But then I want you to go through that list and start looking at, right, what are the actual value adding tasks on this list that would bring me some immediate value to my business. So we can talk all day long about how important marketing is and how building your brand is important and growing your audience is important. And this is a mistake I made in one of my first businesses, certainly my first online business, was believing that I had to grow all this stuff first and trying to grow it without having anything to sell. Now, the irony is, if people are attracted to you and coming into your business, but you've got nothing to sell to them because you've spent all your time doing the other stuff, it won't be long before they're looking to someone else for some help, because you can only take them so far with social media stuff. If you don't have a product or a service that they can buy. So I remember talking to Vic Brown, who I think is in this group, a while ago about this. Her social was pumped. It was all very inspiring. She does journaling. And I talked about, well, what are you selling? And she's like, I'm selling all the time. Like, where? And I'm scrolling through her social, and at no point has she got a product, something that's sat there ready that people can actually buy. So when we talk about your business goals, I want you to make sure that a huge part of this is looking at, where is my value stuff? Where is the stuff that, so my strategy today is one, my online courses, which is what I'm talking about, is another. My one-to-one work is a separate entity, and that's always so busy, which I'm really grateful for. But if I want to expand things like my passive income on courses, I have to make the freaking courses. And that is always a thing that drops right to the bottom of my business goals, because it's harder, it's bigger, there's a lot more to it than just rocking up and doing a session, or you're just rocking up and doing some one-to-one work, or rocking up in a strategy day room. All those things for me feel much easier than actually knuckling down and creating the things that I know will absolutely help to grow my business. So when you look at your big business goal list, I want you to start kind of highlighting the ones that are actual value adding tasks for your business. So I will commit to this Canva course today. So I will record it today. I will hopefully get all the text set up so it's buyable by the end of today, because lots of you have said you need stuff like this. So when we're determining your goals, and your goals can be kind of high level, top level goals. So they might be things like, I want to increase my income by 10% this month. And that might be your goal. But then we've got to layer underneath it, which is what the strategy day is all about, is how you actually get there. Because it's all about having a goal. But if you just plucked a goal out of the air with no kind of follow through, no strategy around it, there's no chance of you hitting it except by pure fluke. Which bit sounds familiar, Sue? And your goals can be around, right, I want to have all my social media scheduled for June, which is a goal I often set. So I'm really lucky now that Jade works with me. So I've passed off a lot of stuff to her, essentially so that I can focus on the high value stuff. But that's not necessarily what I end up doing. And I have to check myself on that a lot of the time. So you can set your high long-term business goals. Sorry, catch up. Yes, very beginners friendly. I'm going to do one on the free version of Canva. The thing is, Marie, I've already made this course. It's just in different branding to the one I've got now. And it's a brilliant course. So yes, it's very beginners friendly. And then I'm going to do a level up for if you're on the pro version. Making the product, I know, so I'm still faffing around with things like that all of the time. So set your big arching goals of I want to grow my profit by 10%, my turnover, my income by 10% this month or more. Challenge yourself. But then your short-term business goals have to align with how you actually get there, which is where these value-adding tasks come in. So I might create this course and decide I just want to sell 10 of these, because lots of this for me isn't necessarily about, so these are really dead cheap courses, they're $9.99 courses that you can buy and keep forever. But lots of the value that comes from that for me is that it starts to build up your know, like, trust factor in me. So you can see that I know what I'm talking about. You like the way I deliver it to you. You start trusting me with your other things. And that's what these courses are designed to do for me. So my short-term business goals are set every week. I use something like my Eisenhower box. I've shown you loads of times. This is a free download on my website if you haven't got it yet. It explains how to use it properly. And I start by just working in the goal box for the things that are important and urgent. And the thing is, I have to assign where they land. So like creating courses is never going to be an actual urgent job. But in terms of what I want my business to look like, is this going to be one of the things that is an actual priority? When we talk about our goals, it's looking at what my priorities are versus what I'm spending my time doing. And the funny thing is on this, nothing in my important urgent box is ticked. In my get rid of everything, not important or urgent, they're all crossed off because I'm faffing around doing the things that make me feel like I'm busy, but not actually moving me forwards. Top tips where to begin with goal setting when the opportunities seem endless. So at the beginning, Jenna's right at the beginning of her business. So it's looking at what can't happen next until I've done some stuff before. So it is for you, like where you're at right now, you've got to create your brand because you can't even start creating social media content. You can't start growing your audience and getting known until you've nailed your branding down. You can't build your website without that. So one of your first things is your brand, and your ideal client is where your goal setting should be to start with. And that's what the strategy day, which you're coming on, will look at a lot. It's where you are now and what the next step is that takes you towards the bigger goal that you're saying you want. So what are the small goals that take you towards the big goal? So your big goal right now might be kind of actually to create a business that feels like a business because you're right at the beginning, which then you need to ask yourself, so what do I need to make it feel like a business for me? So for you, you would need things like an offering, something that you actually sell to your customers. So you need to pad that out, create what is it that you're offering your customers, what are your services here. I'm just going to strip because I'm roasting now. So what's your offering? How am I showing my customers my offering? So for you, lots of that has to come back to, for you, definitely, not everyone, but for you, building a website, starting to align some social around it. Have you gone and claimed all your social? Have you got the handle on everything? We'll cover this loads in strategy day, but it's this idea of what do I need to create? How do I get there? And working it kind of a bit of reverse engineering, a bit of working backwards. But what I need to create isn't always the full end goal. It's what's the next kind of thing I need to create. So for me, one of my things I wanted to create is kind of a suite of small online courses that eventually my end goal will be to grow into a membership where you can access all of them potentially, but that's not for a while. And when I left Ladies Life Lounge and started this on my own, one of my goals originally was I was going to create a business membership to start with. And the reason that all changed, so I was stuck for like a couple of months. I was entirely stuck because it was too big. Like to create a business membership, what I needed to build was just massive. And eventually I gave my head a wobble, looked at things differently, realized what the things were that were making me stick. And it's the fact that I don't focus on creating courses. So there's no way I want to be creating as many courses as are required to create a membership. So instead, I flip to creating the courses that are standalone. And once there are enough of those, I can then amalgamate them together to make a membership. And there's no specific time limit on that, but actually one of mine and Jade's goals is to get 10 courses up and running. And all of that relies on the business goals I'm setting myself and how I'm working towards them. So I already know what my next 10 courses will be. And I said they're all small, half an hour courses. But as they gather together, they're working towards my bigger picture goal, which will probably eventually be leading towards some sort of business membership. But your goals are so personal to you that me kind of telling you what they are until we're together and can talk about them is a really tricky thing to do. But when you're setting them, I highly advocate having this is my big goal, and then these are my smaller goals I need to get me there. So what is my next step? And we always look at all our goal settings. What's my next right step? In fact, we look at our goal settings in our whole life like that. Good morning, Laura. How are you? I'll see you on Monday too. So that big difference between the big goals and the short-term goals. And one thing that's really important that, again, is a whole life lesson, is you have to make your big goals so important that you are happy to align your little goals to work towards them. So like a life example of this is that difference between wanting to lose weight or be healthier or get stronger or get fitter, between that as your big goal versus that instant decision of, shall I have a bag of crisps or a banana? If your big goal is big enough that you want to achieve this so much, it is far easier to choose the banana option because your big goal is worth it. It has to be the same in business. My big goal is clear. I know what it is. I understand my time limit for it. So my big goal, potentially now, this is a good example. My big goal is to create 10 courses. I understand I want to have done that by, I can't remember what date we said, and Jay's not here. September, maybe. Bear in mind I'm having the summer off. So if this is my big goal, then everything I do has to be enough to make me align to that rather than faffing around with the bottom half of my Eisenhower box. It's not important. It's how I make the big thing worth doing the little thing. Does that make sense, everyone? So that's how I do business goals. And I think it's a really, really useful way to look at it. So if I want to increase my income by X amount, it's breaking that down into, okay, so what does that mean I need to sell per week? How much more do I need to sell per week? How am I going to do that? What products do I have in my arsenal already? What could I create that would bring that in? Is that going to be more one-to-one work? Have I got time for more one-to-one work? Which is a big question a lot of the time. Can I fit this in and still be living the life I want? Because that's something that's so important to me now. As you all know, like I will flex wherever I can, but not after school run. So I will see clients as early in the morning as I can, but not after school run. I'll do laptop work after school run, but I'm not seeing clients then. And it's starting to look at what space do I have within the life I still want to create for myself and my business, because I'm living this every day. So my business goals have to fit in to the stuff I'm comfortable and happy to do. Okay. The next bit is staying committed to your goals. And this is kind of just talked about it a little bit there, is this idea that the main reason for you doing it has to be huge. But so staying committed to your goals is easy if you really, really want to achieve them. If you really want to. If you don't, you will find yourself making the excuses, making the reasons. I don't have enough time. My favorite, get up earlier. There are ways you can create more time for yourself if your goal is important enough. We've all got the same amount of hours in the day. Some of us have more commitments than others. Totally get that. When my kids were little, it was much harder, but they're still 7 and 5. They're still little kids. It's finding the time that you're willing to spend is basically what we're saying. We've got time to create if we want it. It's the time that you're willing to spend on this. And are you spending it in the right place? Like I said, if I'm faffing about with my YouTube uploads, checking when my mortgage is due, when my good rate on my mortgage finishes, which luckily I've just found out it's 2025, so I'm fine. If I'm faffing around doing stuff like that in my work time, which is carved out time without the kids, I'm not working towards my goals seriously, am I? So this staying committed to your goals is all about get them down on paper, have a big kind of reassess about them. Are these goals serving me? Are they doing what I want them to do? Am I comfortable with them? Like I said, the idea of creating a membership straight away, turns out I'm just not comfortable with that. I don't have capacity to create that in one go. So it's looking at, then I need to reassess my goals. Sometimes the things I set myself aren't accurate, aren't doable, aren't enjoyable. So it's looking at, I'm not going to stay committed to something where the big picture isn't big enough for me. So that's why lots of diets fail, etc., because the bigger picture is not acceptable in your life. Whereas for me, getting healthier, adding more things into my life has become a thing that actually works for me. So it's this idea of staying committed. So how to stay committed? Keep your goals in mind with everything you do. Whenever you're doing a task, is this taking me closer to my goals or not? That's a question I ask myself a lot. And so much time it's like, no, it's not. I'm faffing about. Is this taking me close to my goals or not? And remember, you started your business for a reason. Really get back into that. What was the reason I'm doing this? Because actually running a business is way harder than doing a 9-to-5 job. So why am I doing this? And am I taking it seriously? Am I giving it everything I've got? Be flexible in your business goals. They will change. You will change. The things you thought you wanted, you might not anymore. And there's nothing worse than slaving towards a goal that makes you unhappy. And I see lots of people doing it. It's pointless. Be persistent. This is one of the overarching things we give up too quickly. There are people I follow on social, well, all the overnight successes, and they will all talk about, all the ethical congruent ones will all talk about the fact it's not an overnight success. The stuff you're seeing now is the result of the work they've consistently put in. But so many of us are not persistent. We panic if something's not working. We don't look at how we could do it differently, potentially. We don't look at what we need to tweak. We just abandon it and flip to something else. There's a few in here who, if they were on the live, one's certainly not, would put their hand up and say that. If it's not working immediately, you just stop. That's not how you will reach your business goals. So it's that, be persistent and be consistent about it. Make it fun. You've got to enjoy doing it. So although I put off recording the stuff, the second I'm on recording, do you know the reason I don't do the courses is because I have to make the slides first. And I freaking hate the slides. It is the worst part of anything for me. And that's the thing that puts me off doing that. Once I've done them and I'm recording, buzzing, absolutely buzzing, setting up all the tech after, buzzing, making the slides, hate it. Don't feel I can pass it to anyone else yet because it's the knowledge that I have. And so it's finding that balance of, do I actually need slides for some of this stuff? Could I just talk if I do it well enough? So make it fun. Another really good way to stay committed to your business goals is be around supportive people. Put your goals in the group. Be accountable for them. When I ask for what are your important tasks today, tell me, share them. Just writing them down and putting them out there for other people to see is likely to make you more committed to them. And they'll stay in the front of your mind all day. There's loads of days I've had a goal that I've sort of set in the morning. I've forgotten about it by afternoon. And it comes to tea time. And I'm like, oh, I didn't do that. And I could have done. And I'm just genuinely, I'm busy. My head's always busy. It's just gone out of my head. And that's a really ridiculous excuse that's perfectly valid, but could perfectly have been overridden by just putting it out there and getting some support with it. So be around supportive people and get help. If you don't know how to do something, ask. Do not be who I was, which is one of those stubborn people who would rather waste hours trying to learn something from Google rather than asking someone who's already done it. If you need to know how to do something, ask in the flipping group. And if one of us knows how to do it, we will share that information more easily than you trying to learn it all. There are no end of people who message me privately and I will send a quick video back of how to do it, but it would help everyone else so much more if it was done in the group. And I could give you help directing there that would help other people. And then another good way to stay committed to your goals is when you flipping achieve them, celebrate it somehow. And this is really, really small, but really powerful in our heads, is how many times have you achieved something and we're like, oh, that's cool, I've done that. And then go straight on to the next thing without any pause, any break to say well done. Even if they're big things. I did a big talk not that long ago. And I'd been like a build up to it. I did it. It was absolutely amazing. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And carried on with my life rather than any celebratoriness, any congratulatory stuff to myself. And the thing is, as humans, we kind of like that. The sense of achievement, if we let ourselves feel it, spurs us on to the next thing. But so much of the time, we don't let ourselves feel any sense of achievement. We just crack on. And we're missing out on a whole bit of human nature that would actually support us in furthering our goals in future. So yeah, review what you've done and praise yourself for it. So the next part is holding yourself accountable with deadlines. Now, recognize if you work for yourself, a lot of the time, your deadlines will be self-imposed, which for some reason seems to make it harder than if someone else is imposing a deadline on you. All of this is kind of about mindset, and it's about mindset. It's also about, I want to say your personality type, and I don't know if I necessarily mean that, but I sort of do. So I think lots of people who set up in business are of a similar personality type. So they might not seem similar on the surface, but I think lots of us are very, very similar in the way we behave. And the deadline thing, lots of us say we work best under pressure. I've got a gunky thing in my eye. We work best under pressure. We thrive on deadlines. We leave everything to the last minute and achieve it then. But we can't do it unless we're under pressure. And again, these are stories you're telling yourself. And I do this all the time. So this big talk I was talking about, I didn't finish the slides properly, even though I'd had months for them because I don't like doing them. I didn't finish the slides properly for them till a day or two before. It might have been the Monday and it was on the Wednesday. And the difference, the sense of relief once I'd done them was huge, but I'd left them all this time instead of getting them done, cracking on, not dreading everything that followed it. The deadline thing is all about mindset. And if you're using Eisenhower boxes to plan, the goal is to not have anything basically in this important and urgent box. It's ideal to have everything in the important, not urgent, and do them before they end up moving across to the urgent box. And that's such an important lesson, is that right now I need to crack off some of this stuff. I'm going to crack off some of this stuff. But I want to be working in that important, not urgent box. So the stuff that's going to move me forward, but isn't panicky, isn't stressing me out, because it's just there to be done and I can do it. And the thing is, all my goals are achievable if I use the time that I have on them and not on checking when my mortgage is due, when I could do when the kids are screaming at me. That's an easy thing I could have done then, but instead I've spent 10 minutes doing it this morning. So he's absolutely right. Celebration gives us a dopamine hit, and we chase for more dopamine. That's basically how addictions are created, or a massive part of funding them. But because we don't do it, we're not getting the hit. Celebrate your stuff. So yeah, to hold yourself accountable for deadlines, it's so much is about mindset of doing things before they become urgent. Having a long-term goal and knowing the short-term goals to get there, because often we don't break our goals down enough. So we have this long-term goal. I want to have achieved 10% more sales by the end of the month. And 2 days before the end of the month, we're like, oh, fuck, I ain't done that. It becomes too big. The deadline's there. Everything's a panic. So then you're like desperately trying to achieve that goal, whereas actually you could have been doing it steadily throughout the month and have already been there or past it. The deadline thing is all in our head, is basically a huge part of what I'm saying. Set yourself a timeline, work backwards. For lots of us, that works. For some of us, it doesn't. And then maybe other strategies we need to undertake. Sue Murphy would be a great person for us to talk to about this, actually. How we manage our time. Create lists. The Eisenhower box is the best thing, but generally I will make a list of the stuff I've got to do and then plug it into the box and see where things fall. Finish one task before you start another. I cannot grin enough at this. I am the queen of having a zillion tabs open and doing a zillion things at once. It's not good for us. It's not good for our brain. It's not good for productivity. It's not good for our sense of achievement. Do one task at a time. After I've done this, I will be closing everything down and recording a course. I promise you that. And track your progress. Again, it's the thing that keeps you on track. If you can break your tasks down into small enough chunks, you can tick them off semi-quickly. So like with this Canva course, I don't have to make any slides because I'm physically showing you my screen. I will have a little list of what I want to go through with you, and that's it. I can get on with that. After I've recorded it, then I need to download it. I need to upload it to YouTube where I'm going to save it. I need to create the whole website, access stuff to it. But that's all later. So it's breaking it down into the little bit I need to do now is to sit at my screen and record myself using Canva, basically. Break it down and track it so I can see how far along this track from creating a course to publishing the course am I. And even after publishing it, then comes selling. And it's keeping it in small enough chunks that you have things to tick off regularly along the way. Right, I'm at my exact half an hour. I'm trying to get much better at being on half an hour trainings. Has anyone got any questions? If you're watching on replay, show me #replay and you can put your questions in the comments. I will always come back. If you're messaging me privately, just really have a little think of, could I ask this in the group? Because if you could, it really might help some of the women and it's so much more beneficial then. Because I really do want to build a business community of women that are helping each other. So yeah, if you've got questions, I love them in here. I love to answer them in here. Lots of you think I don't want to ask things. Please ask them. Dead important. All right. No more questions? So there is no live next week because I'm on my strategy day. If I am, I'm looking at my next week. I'm going to say if I'm feeling like I can, I'll do a little impromptu one, but my next week does not look like that's going to happen at all. So we'll see. All right, no questions. Have a lovely, lovely week. And I will see lots of you in real life on Monday. If you want to come and watch anything about it, just let me know. And otherwise, I will see you all back for a proper live in a fortnight. All right, have a lovely day.